Howdy. I made this video I think 5 days ago. Uh, the one you can see here now on the screen.
You have to wait.
Yeah, 5 days ago. And it seems that this weather system became the Hurricane Kirk. Now there shouldn't be any sound on that. Now let's just take a quick look at what I showed you some 5 days ago. I talked about the lightning and stuff like this, okay? And it is at the mid-Atlantic ridge. There should be some weather maps. Maybe here we can see it. This is basically the mid-Atlantic ridge, what you can see here. And it goes further up north. Where is Iceland? And I have been pondering about how the energy moves, in which directions it usually moves in the Earth's crust, because I somehow think it has its own circuitry in a way that it will flow mainly from one direction into the other. Mainly. Let's say from the equator to the pole, for example. And the energy that flows from the equator to the pole, if it does so, or if that's one part of the circuitry, it might be easiest recognized at the mantle or what the plate boundaries. That's what they're called. And the mid-Atlantic ridge is one of these. We have the Azores. There we have a triple junction of the plates near the Azores. And then you follow it up northwards and you will find Iceland. And in Iceland, everybody knows, we have glaciers. And this is a small tiny glacier I found this year in a place I knew from certain maps that there is some slightly elevated geothermal potential. And now I seem to have found the place where we have the slightly elevated geothermal potential. So, newly discovered Greenland hot rock mantle plume drives thermal activities in the Arctic. Yeah, they're talking about the magma chamber. Yeah. Can we see the map, please? Yeah, maybe now. Yes. Almost perfect. That's Iceland. And that's the coast of Greenland. And obviously, there seems to be quite a lot of volcanoes. And not too long time ago, 52 minutes. And I think this was originally, I had it open just before I had to restart this application again. And I think it was more than 5.2 or something. Now it's just a 4.5. Near Barbadunga. So, we had now this. Let me show you some weather on this map, but we have to zoom out a bit. The hurricane. Yeah, this doesn't really work. the hurricane formed somewhere here. And it went northwards. And then it turned right, or it seems to turn right into Europe. But part of the energy seems to have gone into Iceland. And that's not the only thing that is going on at that location, because there are several quakes. And we are watching at 7 days. There is like some activity going on at Bárðarbunga. And I've been writing or mentioned, I think it's here, no. Grimsvötn, I'm searching, yes, Grimsvötn, which is Europe's largest glacier. And maybe also Europe's largest volcano. And if you don't know why I think these things are very strongly related, then I recommend you to check out my mountain water playlist. Obviously there's 366 videos. Yeah, there's something to catch up. And there would be also a paper. Maybe we have to take a look at this still, because there's so many things as I would like to show, but I don't know, probably makes a very long video, but let's check it out what we have so far. And for this we go back to Iceland, and we are watching at 7 days of quake. So there's a lot of quakes. For those who watch everyday quakes and just have 24 hours, they might be a little bit excited about seeing so many quakes, but we are watching at 7-day quakes because there is like stuff going on beneath the glaciers of Iceland all over the place. Bárðarbunga, however you spell that. 0 kilometers in depth. What's the depth of this one? 3.5. 0 kilometers. So they are rather shallow. There is a deeper one. The yellow one indicates deeper. 16 kilometers. Yeah, look at that. How beautiful. There might be a place where we have water coming up. And there might be also a very nice explanation for why we have blue water and black water, so to say. Some of it might be just on ice, that's why it's blue. The other waters, so to say, they are on top of rock. Maybe. Doesn't reflect light. But there is definitely something going on here, but also here, 20 hours ago, when in the lake Askja. So there seems to be a somehow 3-day rhythm in these quakes. There's one here, 4 kilometers in depth. We have action here, but I wanted to point out this. Check it out. 2 days ago there's been a 5.2, a 4.5, 5.1, 4.9, 4.6 3 days ago, and again 2 days ago. I have already forgotten what it was, and 2.4 also 2 days ago. Yeah. They are moving into opposite directions. In other words, Earth is growing. But anyway, don't believe me, I just try to share some thoughts and maybe provoke some thoughts, and by this we may find once the truth about the things we are looking at. Also, look at this, it's blurred out, and I don't think that's a coincidence. 2.6, 29 kilometers in depth. Yeah. Now it gets sharpened. Did it hear me? Yeah. Yeah, that's now really strange. Just after I showed you how it's blurred out, it started to show up. How amazing is that? And we have a quake at the peak on Svalbard 3 days ago. 0 kilometers in depth. And if you are one sport, you will find the spots on Svalbard. And yeah, you won't be disappointed. Some of them, they are going like that. It's just changing. That's a really an amazing place. Yeah, that would be very cool to go around there once. Yeah, maybe in summertime, but there would be too much snow, you couldn't see anything. There has been actually some earthquake activity in Finland as well. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that it was interesting also. This is the location where I have been talking about the weather system, and 2 days later we got a 5-pointer at the same location where I have been showing the lightning strikes and stuff like that. So I don't really think that was a coincidence that we had a quake there as well, or the other way around. And there might be also something going on beneath the surface no one knows about. Like if there is a volcanic eruption beneath the surface somewhere on the bottom of the sea, and if there is enough water on top of that eruption, there is no sign on the surface. What's that? I haven't seen this. 5 days ago. Wow, that's interesting. Now check this out. There was this weather system I've been talking about, and we got a 5-pointer here. And now you have the weather system you are talking about, because it seems to hit Florida again, and there has been a 5-pointer. So this was 5 days ago, and this was 3 days ago. But nonetheless, to me, both of these earthquakes, they are very strongly related to weather. So now let's have a look at some clouds. And this has been open now for several days on my phone that it just works. So now let's have a look at this. And we might go back to the beginning and take a closer look at some of the things. And this has been, I don't know, maybe 2 hours or something. Maybe a bit less. And I want to point out how you can notice that clouds, like especially the lower ones, those here and these here, they just appear and disappear out of nothing and into nothing. Yeah, there has been a lot going on in the sky. I think I took several pictures of the cloud formations as well. And I think we might have a look at these too. And it's just amazing to see these form. They're pretty high and most often not even visible on the satellite picture, which is a bit of pity. So now let's zoom in. Here we have a spiral forming. Maybe I have to go back a bit because at one point they look very neat. And this is now totally unenhanced. This is just zoomed in. And it's very hard to navigate. So now let's just have a look at this once again. Because we can't zoom in and look at the clouds, I think, better on the pictures than on the video. Because, for example, this region here got very interesting at one point. And you can see some airplanes flying by. And I will show you also at least one airplane. Yeah. There has been a comment about airplanes, plasmas. So I think I just have to show you that. Because it's in a way funny. And also, it's just stop. Now we go to the end because they are very at the end. At the very end. These clouds. Because they just appeared very quickly and disappeared very quickly, and they were rather colorful. But now let's have a look at some pictures. So now that's the area I said that looked rather interesting. And I think at one point there's even some airplanes involved within the pictures because I thought it might help in order to define the height of these clouds. And to me, these lines are very intriguing. And these are not from airplanes. I don't think so. And that's, I think, taken through the sunglasses, which are polarized. Yeah, maybe we should try to enhance a little bit. Stuff, maybe we can see something. Let's go like that. There's a lot of pictures I could show you. No, it didn't get too wild. That's a little bit more perspective to the whole. That's approximately what you can see on the GoPro footage. But it has different qualities. And some random stuff, triangles all over the place. Wherever you look. Like also here in the background there's a triangle. There's many triangles. And that's almost a perfect 90-degree triangle, this other one. Yeah, it's amazing. Almost perfect. Yeah, you probably recognize if you have seen the video of those two boulders I stumbled across. About the 90 degrees. Now back to the clouds. That looked very impressive. Maybe we should enhance this. Now here, let's try to bring forward something here. Let's start with the contrast first. Yeah, let's go like that. Even though that's rather a complicated pattern and stuff like that, but this doesn't look as chaos to me. I think we can see some twisting going on here. Twisting filaments. And what I call the perpendicularity. Yeah, I noticed that. Let's increase this also. Maybe we get something out of that. No, I don't know. It's a bit better. But the whole display in the sky was just amazing. So much going on. Yeah, and it just got wilder and wilder, so to say. And this blue thing here, that's just some lens flare. Never mind that. Here you can see the flare better. It looks very nice, but it's just a lens flare. And I tried to take something into the picture, for example, for the camera, in order to focus, but somehow it does its job very well. I'm very pleased with that. And then appeared these kinds of clouds that they are obviously different than the others. And they showed some layering. And wherever I have to zoom in a bit more. Wherever I see this kind of structure and we have these kind of bumps, to me that's always an indication for a spiraling motion. Maybe I have to show it. Like, it doesn't look like much, but I want to show you the background of that. The background of these clouds, basically. So now we were talking about these clouds here in the foreground, okay? You can see probably the spiraling here already and also here. But look at the background. They are much higher in the sky, these clouds there in the background. And they're very impressive. And that's the remnant of the other structure. It moved on and somehow it kept its shape for quite a while, but then it dissipated. And there's like stuff going on up here as well. Like I said, there was quite a lot of action. And then, all of a sudden, these clouds appeared. And also these in front of the sky. Because obviously, here in the background, there were some clouds approaching. And these were, in a way, let's say, like shockwave expressions of the ones that were coming in the background. And there's also very neat structure in these. And I noticed there's now some halo around the sun. And also these clouds started to get color. And they are not at the same height. The ones that give the sun the color, they are much higher than the ones in the foreground. Then we got some color. Yeah, that's a panorama shot, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's real color. That's not something, that's not a picture remnant. That's a lens flare, this blue thing. But the color of the clouds, that's real. Yeah, that's the reason why I took the pictures. You know? Let's try if we can do something to that. Do you see what I see? This looks like a a vortex structure, and it has color to it. Really? Are you kidding? Whoa! Now that's a catch. Now let's go on. Maybe there's a better one. Let's try this picture. Yeah, maybe it's for some boring if you see when I do this. Yeah, you could have done this before you do the video. And yes. But now you can see what I do to the pictures and that's it. There's no fancy stuff involved. Yeah, you don't need fancy stuff if you can. If you have a picture like this already. Maybe here we can see that it's a double helix structure. Yeah, that's amazing. And these are not enhanced in any way, these are straight. As I basically took the pictures. No enhancements made. You just saw, that's an unsharp picture, obviously. Now that looks interesting. There's like sheets on top of each other. What? Maybe I have to zoom in on that. That's something very interesting. Let's take those both clouds into the picture. Yeah, let's go with this. Increase. Now that looks very interesting. What's up with that? Almost looks like a vegetable. So, and when I left there, I couldn't resist to take this picture because I noticed that cloud that very obviously has a spiraling pattern to it. And that's not from an airplane. And I thought it's funny because the lion seems to look at the cloud. Mm. And that's another picture of the same cloud that's still unenhanced. Let's just make a quick enhancement of this as well. Maybe a bit. Yeah, anyway. And this was at the day when there has been already a possibility for a slight aurora display, not too much, but it could have been possible that the first CME already would have hit Earth or something like that. But I also knew that in the evening there would be more clouds. But I also knew that later on the clouds may disappear, but there would be just a slight chance to see any auroras because there's not really activity already expected on Friday. But that has happened. The cat wanted to go outside and I spotted green. So I went again outside and took a few pictures. And I was really baffled because you can see these vertical light pillars. They are going up all the way. And I'm very aware of this phenomenon when it's very cold, that we have these frost light pillars going on. But it wasn't cold. It was about 10 degrees plus. So how is it possible that we have this kind of light pillar phenomena going on? And never mind those colorful trees. They are supposed to be beautiful. I don't know. And I was actually very pleased to see some auroras because I wasn't really expecting anything. Because there wasn't supposed to be too much auroras already on Friday. But there was, and there was also clouds there in the background, blocking some of the view on the auroras. And you might think that's not a good picture. Yeah, it's maybe not the best one, but what's up with these light pillar things here? What's up with that funnel? And the other thing is, note the clouds here. All of a sudden they appeared, and I have no idea. They seem to appear from a very close location, in a way. And you can see the light pillars in front of the clouds. And it goes all the way up. I don't know what that is. Well, how is it possible? I understand in a way the explanation to some degree when they are telling it's minus 50,000 degrees and there are those little ice crystals in the sky. And that's why you get that. But there wasn't any ice. It was 10 degrees plus, maybe. Even more, I don't know. And that's an interesting picture because at first glance it doesn't look like anything. I tried to take a picture of that cloud because it looked first with bare eyes to be auroras, but it wasn't. And later when I looked at the picture again, I noticed this thing here. And I zoomed in. And here, these are stars, I guess. And since that's a handheld night shot, there might be some wobbling going on. But I have no idea what this thing is. What? Because if I zoom back out, it's rather big. That's a very strange thing. Yeah, today I found a spoon. Yeah, obviously you can see in the background I was looking also for some pebbles, but I found a spoon. So it seems there is at least one spoon. So now back to the clouds. Let's have a look at some more clouds because there has been very interesting clouds recently. Especially those in the background. And for example, that's a picture also where I have an airplane. And like I said earlier, I often, if there's an airplane and certain light conditions, I take a picture with the airplane in the picture so we can take a look at that. And airplanes, they fly around 12,000 meters or something, 10, 12. And I was just looking at the clouds, thinking about the zeta potential. Or the zeta potentials. Yeah, I was there minding my own business and observing some very interesting things. And I think it was so interesting, it triggered me even to make a short. And I think we can see some spiraling going on here as well. Yeah, and obviously there's an airplane. And there's another one. And I know approximately at which time they're flying around. There has been some cloud activity all over the place, and also here in the background, that maybe doesn't seem too interesting for most people. But then I turned back again and I just couldn't not notice this airplane. You know, it's very hard to not notice. There's the other one, or just the remnant of the path left. And we have this thing still going on. There might be some vortex also going on here. And I thought, yeah, that's an interesting coincidence. And you can see already here the patterns it left. And that's the US Air Force. Yeah. US Air Force. I was here watching there and it made this turn. And it made the full 180. And it left me this very intriguing pattern in the sky. And it was very interesting to follow how they dissipated and formed their distinctive patterns. I think that's just beautiful and very intriguing. Yeah, one could say finally you see some real plasma in the sky. Hmm. Yes. And then came the evening. With very nice clouds. That looks almost that it would go through the whole cloud. Yeah, and as the light conditions changed, things started to look different. But the action basically remained the same. Energy went up, down, and around. And this was also very interesting and very impressive because, after all, if you think about the size of that structure in the sky, it is very big. It's very big. And what you can see here on the picture is just a small part of the whole structure because, yeah, it just continues almost into all directions. And here in the foreground we can see clouds. It's rather a sharp picture. So it looks like that. Or it looked like that in real life. And that's just so amazing to see. And that's not enhanced in any way. That's an original picture. Yeah, I think that's not the sharpest we have. But how the camera should know what to zoom in. I also want to know that there is something going on in the background as well. Yeah, that's a rather sharp picture. So that's how they look. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll leave it here. Just take a look at that. That's amazing. Yeah, thanks for watching.